The cystic fibrosis community is invited to participate in a series of videos and podcasts on individuals that are living, breathing, succeeding with cystic fibrosis. This podcast, The Family and CF, is the sixth in a series of 12 made possible through an unrestricted educational grant from Genentech to the Boomer Esiason Foundation. Today you will meet the Gerofsky family, Debbie, Evin, and Alex, the wife and sons of the late Brian Gerofsky. The family will share their heartfelt feelings about Brian, talk about living with CF in the family unit, and their fond memories. Although Brian is gone, his memories live on.
You couldn't know Brian and not love him. He was funny, loving, romantic, passionate, smart. Brian and I first met because we were set up on a blind date. And a year later, almost to the day, we got married. Brian told me that he had CF a few weeks after we started dating. I wasn't sure what to do, but then when I thought about it, I decided that I was just totally in love with Brian, and there was no way that I could end the relationship because he had cystic fibrosis. So that was it. We went on from there. We both loved children. We knew we wanted children. And we never talked about, is this going to be a problem, having children and having cystic fibrosis? We really didn't discuss that. We just lived our lives.
My dad, he was always there for me. He was always doing so much for us, and he never let on that he was sick or anything like that. He was always just so strong and capable, and I guess I could say it was any normal childhood.
I really didn't think much of it. I knew he was sick. That was about it. He did his treatments twice a day, always. But I really had a pretty normal childhood with him. We would pretty much do normal things that any other father and son would do. I never really thought too much of it.
He loved going to the concerts. He loved listening to classical music. He genuinely enjoyed the things that I enjoyed. And it wasn't just a father that was putting up with whatever his son likes to do.
I really don't know how he did it, but no matter what he was going through, he always made it seem like what I was going through was that much more important.
We did a lot of things as a family. We traveled, we went to Disney World, we went to Jamaica. How's Daddy doing, Rick?
There's den of that, but he's gonna.
Brian was also very, very independent in taking care of himself. He would do his own chest PT. Times when he was not feeling well and I would want to do it for him, he was very, very insistent that he do it himself. He would have IVs in his arm when he was on home IV treatments, and at the same time be holding two percussors up to his body and doing his chest PT.
It was actually pretty cool at the time, like having a dad who would go around beating his chest.
So sometimes I would just go downstairs and just hang out with him when I was younger, but I would never really actually do any of the actual medical stuff with him.
Is that? Oh.
Yeah, no, that's a nice picture of Dad with you boys.
Well, when I was growing up, it really didn't have much of an effect on me. I really didn't think much of it. It was just like, yeah, my dad was sick, something like that, but as I got a little older, he would be in the hospital. He'd be in the hospital a little more often. But I didn't really think too much of it until I was until I really got into school in college, until we started to be in the hospital a little more often, and I started seeing the effects of the illness more on him.
It was just really strange, like, seeing your dad in the hospital like that. But still, he never let on that he was sick when I came to visit. And he always had this smile on his face and was always cracking those stupid jokes.
Brian and I were at this brunch with friends, and then we said, like, oh, we have to leave because we have an appointment to go pick out cemetery plots, and they looked at us like we were nuts. And the two of us were there together, and we were standing next to each other in the cemetery like, oh, this is a nice spot. Yeah, if our boys ever come to visit our graves, this would be pretty. There are trees here, and this is nice. And Brian always wanted to be in a nice neighborhood, so he said, well, at least when I die, I'll be in a nice neighborhood. That will be good. Well, Brian's been gone now about 4 months. It's hard being without him.
I still thought he was gonna get better like he always did.
He's a part of all of us. And we just move on with what we learned from him and what we shared with him. And we go on to the next day.
Yes, for all there's kids out there that have a parent with CF. More than anything, you have to be strong for them. That's it.
I would also strongly advise anyone who's involved with another person who has cystic fibrosis to be sure that you have your own life. I love to dance, I take classes, and Brian learned pretty early in our marriage how important that was to me. And that, that's my therapy.
If my dad was here right now, I'd just say that I love him so much and that he's such an amazing person. And I'd thank him for being such a great father to me, for being so inspiring and so brave.
If my dad was here right now, I would just, more than anything, I'd want to say thank you for always believing in me. And I love him. And I never really got to say goodbye to him. So that's one thing I'd want to say.
I know that Brian felt that he was leaving us at a time where he truly believed that we would be okay. We'd be sad, but we'd be okay. And I think he finally reached a point where he felt it was okay for him to let go and stop fighting so hard.